Okay. Alright, we are back with Engadget. It's strange how, like, tech sites are talking about this. Like, why is it, how is this like a technology thing? This is crawling towards law and politics and economics, rather than just technology itself. But, oh well, everything's tangentially related enough if you're willing to look down the tree. So, oh shit, that's loud. I'm going to turn myself down. Okay, California wins an injunction against Uber and Lyft classifying drivers as contractors. The state is suing to make them comply with AB 5. Now, I'm not sure. Okay, Assembly Bill 5. I don't know what that means, but apparently it's about reclassifying gig economy workers as employees, and so far, Lyft and Uber have not done that. The city is suing them on Monday afternoon. Judge Ethan Schulman of San Francisco Superior Court ruled in favor of granting a preliminary injunction that will block the companies from classifying drivers as independent contractors, and thus defeating the entire purpose of these fucking things. Like, jeez. Anyway. I hope my voice wasn't doubled the whole time. Oh, shit. Okay. So, Reuters reports that a 34-page decision, Schulman said there's an overwhelming likelihood that the state will prove these two companies have illegally misclassified workers and that they failed the law's three-step test to determine if the workers are employees. He delayed enforcement of the ruling for 10 days to allow for appeals, which both companies plan to pursue, while the San Francisco Chronicle reports Uber said it will also push for a longer stay. In a statement, Lyft said, "We'll immediately appeal this ruling and continue to fight for their independence. Ultimately, we believe that this issue will be decided by California voters and that they will side with the drivers." Earlier in the day, Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi posted an op-ed calling for a gig workers benefits fund, but insists drivers want to work independently. Uber and Lyft are also suing over the law and are part of the coalition pushing to get Proposition 22 on the ballot in California this November, which would keep drivers as freelancers. Is anything else in the article? Nope. All right. Well, I guess I'll make it brief. But first off, the whole reason why they're so successful is because they were immune to all the benefits, minimum wage, regulation this, regulation that. And when you take that away from them, you defeat the entire purpose of these companies. These companies will start to, either their wages will start to tank, or they just simply cannot hire the same number of people that they used to. Because, in case you didn't know, companies aren't endless pits of money. They have a finite budget too. And the biggest expense for pretty much any business you can think of is employment. So, well, labor costs, whatever. So when you choke on that, first thing these companies will try to do is they'll try to finagle with the law, which I guess is it is not exactly the most effective option, but I guess it's the least it's the one requiring least action. And as you know, just like people, businesses go for the path of least resistance first. And if that doesn't work, then they'll just leave California. Like, why the fuck? Okay, if you were an executive for Lyft or Uber, why would you hang around in a state that is actively fucking you with its shitty laws? You wouldn't. So they just go elsewhere. This is going to hurt California's tax revenue. And just like how Elon Musk threatened to, I guess, he quote, arrest me, bro, what's the government going to do? They either back down or they lose a huge chunk of their tax revenue. I don't know about the capital size of Lyft and Uber. They're probably not as big as Tesla, but it's sizable. So it is actually it is also in the California state's government's best interest to not do this stupid shit. But they're going to try anyways. And I don't know. I think that greed will win in the end, and this will just drop eventually. It's right. Okay, right now we're seeing a conflict between the greediness of the state government versus the idiocy of the average Californian voter who voted for this. And I guess to double down on the stupid, I guess a lot of the drivers are like there too, like, oh, I want some free benefits. I'm tired of doing my Lyft and Uber for a higher wage than the other job that I could get. I want the government to do my paperwork for me and then take a slice of it because I'm a fucking man baby. Yeah.
So would this mean that they would? Do you think this would uh, say if Lyft and Uber were to stay, they would have to have people just solely in California work hourly
I
wages?
think I think they would just like they make modifications to their app and yeah, they might list that in the terms of service, and their app interface will be totally different whenever you download it and install it within California. But of course, outside of that, then why do they have to comply? What rule do they have to? Because thankfully, this is just California law, not federal law. But yeah, it'll be. I guess it'll be at least a few months before they can settle this out, or it will settle out into one of the two outcomes that I predicted. Or they could just drag their feet and just like be like, okay, government, I'll get to that tomorrow, and they just don't do shit, and they see how long they can do that before it starts costing the company. You
Hmm.
know, companies can be lazy too. They if you have the option to drag your feet on this kind of problem, you would. So, and I mean, from my experience working with these contract work with like the highly decentralized companies, they're already pretty lax on their policies because I guess most people are just too afraid of the instability or the excuse me, they're too comfortable with the illusion of security that you get from regular hourly labor. And people think that working on gigs means that oh, I have to be on my feet all the time and I have to watch myself, and if I underperform one little bit, then I'm going to lose my job. Well, thanks to the Democrats, the so-called income security that you got from your hourly job is no longer. And you can expect that to happen again whenever the left wants something, or if it's election year. So the gig economy is the way to go. And I guess since they're not paid hourly, they're disentangled from like the federal benefit programs like Obamacare, and that probably means that the companies will have to pay less taxes. So I think that's the real reason behind this. Um, no, half the reason. Like half the reason is because the Californians vote it, and the Californians all vote for all kinds of stupid shit. And the other half is that the California wants California Big Brother wants some of the tax revenue, and the companies, yeah, they're trying to subvert this trend, the economic trend from the service economy to the gig economy, and they're trying to cash in on it. And well, yeah, they gotta these two companies better act quickly.
Hmm.
I don't know if it would cost them more to move out of California or move out slash adapt their business model to conform to the California law. Only for
Well,
California though.
assuming that they
Or
don't have any like headquarters or buildings or servers in California, all they would have to do is just set it to that the app just doesn't show up in California, and then
yeah.
all of those people don't have jobs.
Well, let's go take a look real quick. Uber.
Or hell, it
There.
probably wouldn't even matter if their headquarters was there or not. They could just turn it off to that area.
Well, Lyft's HQ is in San Francisco, and Uber's HQ is in also in San Francisco.
Hmm.
Like they're probably on shit. They're less than a mile apart from each other. So yeah.
Interesting. San
Okay.
Francisco is a refugee haven.
Well, not anymore.
So
Now the refugees got to go outwards from the fucking war zone, the economic war zone known as California, and trip on heroin needles and homeless people's shit bags on the way. Isn't that wholesome?
So I was doing a little side note. I was doing a little research on the whole homeless people thing. So cops used to be able to pick up homeless people's stuff and confiscate it or remove it because it's considered, littering for someone to like show up and just leave their trash all over the city. The California voted to allow people to live wherever they wanted. They could go set up a tent in front of your house, and there's nothing that the cops can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't move them. That's their spot. And so the reason why there's so much homelessness everywhere, so much drugs, is because they voted to allow homeless people to go anywhere they wanted and stay anywhere they wanted.
Well, that's also not let's also not forget how the Democrats were bussing around homeless people just to get more votes. Like they're sending them all over the place and back and forth from California to Florida and wherever the fuck not. So yeah,
So
and then
there is,
add in and then throw in some mail-in ballots and yeah, and then blame the Republican and then point the finger at Republicans for fucking voter fraud. That's how they roll. Yeah. So I don't know who to blame at that point. Is it the people? Is it the politicians who bust these homeless people around just to win votes, or is it the people who voted for this shit in the first place, who voted to outlaw the cops from cleaning up piles of homeless people shit from the streets? I'm more inclined to blame the common people. Yes, the common people like you and me, because they're the ones that enable the politicians to do so. After all, we live in a democracy, don't we? But I know it's easier to just blame the politicians and totally forget about who votes for them. So, and the funnier part is like, okay, so your average, wealthy leftist in California, they're like, oh, homeless people are people too. Let them shit and drop their heroin needles on the street all they want, and the police shouldn't do anything. But then the second it comes to their backyard,
yeah,
yep,
yeah. The second it shows up on your front door, that's when people start getting uncomfortable. That's where that meme just comes from. Just
it's
someone
called
made an
NIMBY.
app. Someone made an app, and whenever you see a turd on the street of California, you mark it,
Take a
and
picture and ping the GPS of it.
yeah, yeah, and there will be a GPS ping on this app,
And you
and like
open
the
up
whole
and then you
state's just
open up
full
then you
of
open up the
crap.
map, and it's just like this huge heat map of brown splotches all over the fucking city.
Yeah, I had a
Oh, that's
friend
funny.
show me that shit. It's a real thing,
He really
and
showed you
there's
that shit, didn't he?
there's all
Oh,
these memes showing up of Californians moving out of that state because it's a shithole state, and
shithole.
people don't want Californians and their retarded ideas coming into their state, so they go and they graffiti their cars, go back to California. We don't want you here.
Okay, I'm gonna search this one. California shit map. Let's see if anything comes up here. Human wasteland map plots San Francisco is covered in human poop. Oh my fucking
Yeah,
god.
yeah,
This is fucking real.
yeah. It's
Oh
real.
shit. Oh my god. What in
I've
the hell?
Me and AVC have bumped into a previous person before who had claimed that there was no shit in California. Well, there's lots of shit, and there's lots of evidence too.
Oh. Oh, he knows it's
Lots of
bullshit.
evidence.
He's probably just
Yeah,
lying just to keep his just to he okay. A lot of times when people lie whenever being personally attacked, hashtag not all, but most time you can suspect that not a lie they tell you to convince you. It's a lie they tell themselves convince themselves that it's not true. So yeah.
yeah. Well, we're about to roll on 15 minutes. I think I've got everything out.
Yeah. We've already exceeded the average attention span by fivefold. So,
By about 10 minutes and 13 minutes.
yeah. Oh well. Well,
Well,
we're aiming to hit the 2% that actually make it all the way here, and we cherish those people. You are loved. You are special, Mister or Mrs. 2% viewer.
you smart, you loyal.
I know.
Well, I think we'll call it there.
Yeah.
If you guys want to show my buddy AVC some love, down in the description below, there's a link that'll take you straight to his channel. Subscribe, leave a like on his video, check out all of his other content. He's got really good gaming content. Go give him some love. And we'll see you all in the next time. Leave a like, subscribe, and please leave a comment.
Don't
Goodbye.
don't trip on homeless people shit. And
We're out. It just got you saying don't trip on homeless people shit,
oh man.
which is pretty good.